Are we on? There we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency in the Madera, Chowchilla, Delta, Mendota Subbasins Committee meeting. It is August 5th, 1:31. We will call this meeting to order and we will start with the flag salute. First item on the agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for comment on items not on this agenda. This is also a place to suggest topics for further meetings. Comments can be 5 minutes or less. Do we have any public comment? Or a green light? Good afternoon.
Perhaps now. Okay, there it is. It's recording. Good afternoon. I would like to suggest for an agenda item. I looked for it today, but seeing that it is not on the agenda for today, I would like to request that the review of the governance or framework for the qualification for domestic well mitigation be a agenda item in this forum. And I look forward to seeing that next month. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have anyone online? None online. I'll close public comment and bring it to item 3, which is an action item, approval of the Madera County Groundwater Sustainability Agency Committee meeting minutes from July 1st, 2025.
Move to approve.
Do we have any public comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, we have a first and I'll second.
Yes.
Yes. Your mic's not working, by the way. Item 4 is an informational item, measurement methods and accounting platform, RFP update.
Good afternoon, directors. Alita Allen, Water Resource Specialist. I'm going to be covering the timeline for the RFP measurement methods 2026. We have made significant, sorry. Okay. Okay, we've made significant progress since the RFP has been issued on May 15th. We received 7 proposals, 2 for measurement and 5 for the accounting platform. All 7 respondents did a public presentation at the GSA committee meeting on July 1st. Responses from respondents posted on the Madera County website on July 21st. The growers have proposals, presentation, and response to questions to review. The closing period was at the end of July. The grower feedback questionnaire was mailed out on July the 11th. Surprisingly, we received a lot through the postal mail service. We have about 35,000 acres and 47 growers who have submitted their questionnaires, but they're still rolling in. Reference checks. Reference checks were done for measurement method and accounting platform by Madera County GSA staff. The general feedback was positive. They understood agriculture. They were receptive. The accounting platform, again, positive feedback. Keep in mind the service is new and it is being refined as time goes by. Response time is good and requests are addressed promptly. There are some gaps between what is outlined and what is wanted. As services are refined and needs are met, costs will increase. This is not a plug and play. A summary of the general questions, quality assurance and quality control, data security, mobile apps used by other GSA, crops, NOAA, grower accessibility platform for the measurement method questions, accuracy, can ET and data be integrated into a groundwater platform? For the online accounting platform, why is your platform the best? What details can be shown on the platform, such as recharge credits allocation? And the next steps. In September, a GSA committee presentation and staff recommendation and all questionnaires returned. October, contract negotiation. November, GSA committee recommendation and board of directors. Target date is for January 1st, 2026. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions, Director McCauley? I'll open it up to a public comment. Come on up, Noah.
Noah Lopez with the Madera Ag Water Association. First of all, thank you to the committee and to the staff for the update on the measurement RFP process. I also wanted to highlight before we get started a note we heard from a few of our members that they are following this issue and would be here. Obviously, it's a busy time with harvest, but just don't want you to think that there are, or I want you to know that there are more folks following this than maybe attending the meetings. So as we've had the chance to kind of see the questions from the RFP respondents come in, and we've had the chance to discuss those responses with our membership, there's a couple just key principles we've kind of fleshed out, and I wanted to relay those to you today. They're things that we think should be sought after in the measurement system, and so as we're looking at kind of recreating or building a new measurement system, we have the opportunity to find both cost efficiencies and improve the system or the final product for both the growers and for the GSA. And so there's a few principles we just wanted to highlight. The first of those is cost. I think that's obviously one of the main drivers behind all of this. We did a little bit of homework and tried to kind of total up what the measurement system as it currently is costing the GSA. It's a little bit hard to do because I think a lot of these contracts are not to exceed, and so the actual build amount may be much less. And perhaps Stephanie could correct me if my math was wrong here, but I think it's around $1 million annually when you put in flow meter, hydrostat, land IQ, and the meter appeals process. It's a pretty expensive, at least contracted amount. So there's a lot of room for cost savings, we think, and that should be a priority. And obviously that's been discussed here. Another key principle we wanted to highlight was we think that the new measurement system should seek to use both data sources and a platform that's broadly utilized elsewhere by other GSAs. For example, one of the RFP respondents doesn't appear to be used anywhere else in California, doesn't even maybe appear to be used elsewhere in the United States, used maybe in Europe, but that could be contrasted with someone like Land IQ, used widely by other GSAs for Sigma purposes. It's trusted in the San Joaquin Valley, both by growers, strong confidence from growers, but also by the agencies, including Department of Water Resources. And so MAWA would suggest the use of Land IQ. We're using it currently, but we would suggest the continued use of Land IQ. Another key concept we think should be considered in this measurement system is the ability to integrate flow meters. Right now, growers can opt to use flow meter data instead of satellite ET data. We think that should continue. And we think that whatever accounting platform is chosen should at least eventually be able to integrate that flow meter data so that it's kind of alongside the ET data. Another thing that is important is the ability to continue appealing ET data using flow meter data. So if the grower chooses to use ET data, but at the end of the year, they think that their flow meter data is more accurate, right now they have the ability to do an appeals process, and we think that that should continue. That's an important part of the system, and we're hopeful to see that continued. Another point on the platform, whatever groundwater accounting platform, and I do want to make the distinction here, I think that there are groundwater or ET data viewers. So some of these ET data sources have viewing platforms, but they're not really accounting platforms. They don't take data in from the GSA as well on recharge, on credits, on allocation, right? So whatever accounting platform is chosen, we think that that should eventually be able to facilitate transfers of credits or transfers of allocation between growers as allowed by the rules of the GSA. But we think that even if it's not immediate, eventually it should work towards that, because as the allocation decreases, we think there'll be a significant interest between growers within the GSA to kind of transfer credits, and it'll allow efficient use of the actual allocation for the entire white area. And then finally, this point, it's a little bit difficult maybe to summarize, but we think that it's really important for the GSA to make sure that this system is transferable between different vendors. What we're hoping to avoid, I think, is a situation where the measurement system is tied to the continued use of one vendor. Whatever system we end up with, a combination, right, of a data source and a platform, or maybe multiple data sources and a platform, we think that the GSA should do its very best to construct the contracts in a way where the GSA owns the data, and should there be a need to change vendors at some point, that's possible. It's not tied to, we're not stuck with one vendor forever, and if we want to change it, we have to reinvent the system all over again. Obviously, some of that's a little bit of that is unavoidable, but we think that whatever can be done to kind of ensure that system transferability should be done. So I think that's it. Really appreciate the GSA committee process. Looking forward to where this all goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you for that feedback. Anyone else? Do we have anyone online? None online? Stephanie, you have any final thoughts? No? Okay. This was an informational item. We will move on to item 4. 5. 5. It's an action item, consideration and recommendation to the Board of Directors to enter into a memorandum of understanding between Valley Water Collaborative and the 23 groundwater sustainability agencies, GSAs, in the Delta Mendota Subbasin regarding water quality testing for domestic wells and replacement water supplies. Ready to share?
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. My name is Jacinta Cabral, and I am a water resource specialist. Before you today, we have an MOU between the Valley Water Collaborative and the Groundwater Sustainability Agencies, also known as GSAs, of the Delta Mendota Subbasin. This MOU is primarily regarding water quality testing for domestic wells and replacement water supplies for the subbasin. A bit of background. A bit of background regarding the Delta Mendota Subbasin. As you see on the map, portions of the Delta Mendota Subbasin reside in the southwest part of Madera County and are represented by the orange area on the map. In 2024, the 23 GSAs in the Delta Mendota Subbasin collaborated and created a subbasin-wide single groundwater sustainability plan, also known as the 2024 GSP. The County of Madera GSA Delta Mendota has adopted the 2024 GSP, and the 2024 GSP includes a domestic well mitigation policy. The 2024 GSP is currently under review by the State Water Resource Control Board, and domestic well mitigation policy is a priority for the state board. Along with other updates to the 2024 GSP and through this MOU and current domestic well mitigation policy, the GSAs in the Delta Mendota hope the state board will approve the return of the subbasin back to the Department of Water Resources Authority. Some background on the Valley Water Collaborative. The Valley Water Collaborative is a nonprofit that follows the CV Salts program for addressing contaminants in drinking water. Similar to the Chowchilla Management Zone Nitrate Control Program that is already in operation in the Chowchilla Subbasin, Valley Water Collaborative provides nitrate testing among other contaminant testing for domestic wells. They also provide water deliveries for those domestic wells that exceed the state's maximum contaminant level. The Valley Water Collaborative currently has programs implemented throughout the Central Valley, including Madera Subbasin. The main goal of this MOU is to avoid duplication efforts and to share data. Also, this MOU will strengthen the Delta Mendota domestic well mitigation policy, regarding water quality testing and replacement water. Additionally, the MOU includes terms to develop future agreements with Valley Water Collaborative regarding funding for domestic wells and replacement water. And it is also touches bases on implementation of management zone plans. It is important to note that currently there are no domestic wells located on the lands covered by Madera County GSA Delta Mendota, and no funding source is available for well mitigation through the county GSA Delta Mendota. The recommendation we have for you today is to recommend to the Madera County GSA Board of Directors to enter into agreement with Valley Water Collaborative regarding domestic well testing and replacement water supplies in line with the 2024 Delta Mendota GSP. That concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you, Jacinta. Any questions?
Yeah, just a quick one. Of the 23 GSAs, how many have signed on so far? And do we have an anticipation date on?
I believe we are the last to sign on, and then we will get all their signatures back.
We're the last. Okay.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Come on up.
Hello, how you doing?
Welcome.
Ralph Pistoresi. Sorry, a little bit late. I wanted to comment generally on well mitigation because, I thought about it one day and I said, what does mitigation actually mean? All right. And I looked on the state website to get the definition and what they really require. And they make no specific requirement as to what the county needs to do on mitigation. Mitigation is just a movement in the direction of sustainability, but they leave it up to the GSA to figure out what that is over the long run. They don't specifically say, get all your white area farmers and make them pay for all brand new wells. That's not what they say. They leave it up to your discretion to figure out how to do it. So my thinking was to do it properly, we need to, if there's a fee that's extracted from the white area farmers, which not actually fair. I don't know where fairness ever enters into this thing. It should be a first priority. Before you do anything, you say what's right and what's fair, and then you go on to deciding things. But that aside, if there's a $59 an acre fee on the white lands, I think what needs to be done, instead of just giving money away and expecting more money to be there next year, I think we need to do is put our minds together and think of a sustainable program where the money is loaned out to the people based on the condition of their well and the age of the well. And there's got to be some standards set up by a group of people on how they qualify for these programs. And the other thing that I would suggest is that the people that are funding this program, the farmers, the white area farmers, that they're on the committee that reviews and decides on all these things because they're very familiar with wells. If there's a well that's 50 years old and 200 feet deep, it's economic and life is finished. So we need the people that are paying for the program to be involved in how it's administered. The other thing I would have you consider is that a lot of times 5 to 10% of the total amount is used for administration. I think you need to figure out how to do it so you don't spend a lot of money on administration. You have people already working with the Natural Resource Department. They're on the payroll anyways. And the farmers would do it for free because it's their money. So anyway, these are things that I wanted you to consider, and then talk more about it later. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? We have anyone online?
None online.
I'll close public comment, and Director McCauley, you have some comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to, for the public's benefit, just make sure everybody's aware that DWR did actually put together a document on best practices for domestic well mitigation. That draft document was released, I think, just last week. So I would certainly encourage you to provide comments to DWR in regards to those best practices on domestic well mitigation. I'm not sure if it was last week or early this week, Stephanie.
We can find that document and send it to Mr. Pistoresi, as well as the already adopted rules for domestic well mitigation in the Delta Mendota subbasin, which this item is very specific to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll bring it back for action,
Move to approve.
and I'll second that.
Director McCauley,
Yes.
Director Gonzalez,
Yes.
vote passes 2-0.
Thank you very much. Item 6 is an action item, consideration and recommendation to the Board of Directors to enter into an amendment to MCC number 11686F-24 with David's Engineering, Inc. for an amount not to exceed 975,200. Sorry. 975,270.50 and amend the scope for professional engineering services associated with grant-funded recharge projects with the term date of June 30th, 2027. All costs are reimbursed by a grant.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tukta Pedesa, Water Resource Specialist. Today I'm going to discuss a proposal from David's Engineering for multiple scopes and provide an update on the ongoing grant-funded recharge projects. I do have Chad Tinkin from David's Engineering with me in the audience in case there are any project-specific questions, but I'm going to give you a brief overview. For a bit of background, David's Engineering has been providing the county GSA with professional engineering services for these grant-funded recharge projects since inception, including project development, grant application preparation, landowner outreach, and design activities to date. These proposals include amendments to the scope of work provided by David's Engineering in order to continue progressing on these projects. This map provides an overview of all the recharge project site locations located in the proposals, which include Madera Recharge Project 1. The sites are located in the eastern portion of the Madera subbasin, highlighted in blue, and Chowchilla Recharge Project 1 and 2 sites are located on the Chowchilla bypass, highlighted in green and yellow. Here's a closer look at Madera Recharge Project 1 for reference. Madera County GSA is the grant administrator for Madera 1. The project description includes rehabilitation of 1 existing turnout, construction of 3 new turnouts, and construction of 1 40-acre dedicated groundwater recharge basin in partnership with Root Creek Water District, along with construction of infrastructure associated with conveyance of flood flows to approximately 2,500 acres of existing farmland for flood managed aquifer recharge, also known as FloodMAR. The capacity for recharge at full build out for Madera Recharge Project 1 is approximately 12,600 acre feet per year when water is available. The work set forth in Proposal 1 is to advance Madera Recharge Project 1 from its current level of design to 100% design, including environmental permitting. The proposal services include updating the cost share analysis, the basis of design report, design drawings, engineer's estimate, technical specifications, and integrating environmental compliance measures into the design package. The cost for this proposal is not to exceed $85,325.50 and is reimbursed to the county GSA by Prop 68 grant funds. Here's a closer look at Chowchilla Recharge Project 1. Madera County is also the grant administrator for Chowchilla 1. The project description includes construction of 3 new turnouts. In total, it will have the capacity to divert 80 CFS or 160 acre feet per day with appropriate conveyance to divert flood flows to approximately 1,700 acres of existing farmland for FloodMAR, as well as delivering water to 2 landowner constructed dedicated groundwater recharge basins with approximately 64 acres in total area. The basins are landowner constructed and not part of the project work. The capacity for recharge at full build out is approximately 8,000 acre feet per year when water is available. Proposal 2 provides the scope and fee associated with providing bidding support, managing pre-construction activities, construction management and inspections, and post-construction reporting for Chowchilla Recharge Project 1. The cost for Proposal 2 is not to exceed $383,528 and is reimbursed to the county GSA with Prop 68 grant funds. Chowchilla Recharge Project 2 has two separate proposals. Triangle T Water District is the grant administrator for Chowchilla Recharge Project 2. Here's a closer look at one of the site locations, and the project description includes one point of diversion with a maximum capacity of diverting 20 CFS, or approximately 40 acre feet per day, as well as construction of a conveyance pipeline to deliver the water to approximately 420 acres of existing farmland for Floodmar and into one landowner constructed dedicated recharge basin. This will have the capacity for recharging approximately 2,000 to 6,000 acre feet per year at full build out when water is available. The work set forth in Proposal 3 is to advance Chowchilla Project 2 from its current level of design to 100% design, including environmental compliance permitting. The proposal services include updating the cost share analysis, basis of design report, design drawings, engineer's estimate, technical specifications, and integrating environmental compliance measures into the design package. The cost for Proposal 3 is not to exceed $180,000 and is reimbursed to the county GSA with Prop 68 grant funds. This additional diversion system was added to the Chowchilla Recharge Project 2 due to Triangle T Water District not being able to spend all their funds, and the remaining funds were moved to Madera County GSA through a grant amendment. The anticipated design components for this project include one point of diversion capable of diverting 20 CFS, or approximately 40 acre feet per day. It will be equipped with a fish screen and a 24-inch magnetic flow meter, and construction of a conveyance pipeline to deliver water to a 5-acre landowner constructed dedicated groundwater recharge basin for direct recharge, and to approximately 100 acres of existing farmland for Floodmar. This project will be designed to have the capacity of recharging approximately 2,000 acre feet per year at full build out when water is available. Proposal 4 is intended to provide costs to start this additional diversion system and bring it to 60% design. This includes field work, permitting slash CEQA, 30-60% design, and the basis of design report. The cost for Proposal 4 is not to exceed $326,417 and is reimbursed to the county GSA with Prop 68 grant funds. As you know, waterways are heavily regulated. Here's a sampling of some of the permitting that is required for these grant-funded recharge projects. And here's an overview of the cost by project. The term date for this amendment is June 30th, 2027, and all costs are reimbursed to the county GSA with Prop 68 grant funds. The total for all 4 proposals within this amended contract agreement is $975,270.50. And the staff recommendation is to recommend to the GSA committee, to recommend to the board of directors of the GSA to enter into an amended contract agreement with David's Engineering in order to continue advancing these grant-funded recharge projects. This concludes my presentation, and I'm available to take your questions or comments.
Thank you very much. Director McCullough.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the update on these projects. I think staff's been working on them for quite some time, since probably a little before 2020, right? Around there. And so I'm curious to know if we can get kind of a more complete picture of where we're going, as far as, all these projects are at various stages, but it's not really clear to me when any of them could or would be completed. Also, it would seem that we're not necessarily contracting with David's to bring these projects into completion. So is there funding gaps that we still need to address in order to do so? Again, just kind of a bigger picture of how we get these projects across the
So as you know, engineering costs have increased, engineering and construction costs, but we do think we can work within the scope of the existing grants. Most of these are fairly far along, so we could bring a timeline back. That said, almost the second we bring you the timeline, dates are going to slip because a lot of the permitting is absolutely not entirely out of our control, but mostly out of our control, right? And relies on other agencies doing their part. So happy to come back with that. I think the end date for this contract is June.
30th, this one,
Yes, the
June 30th, 2027.
2027.
Mhm.
So we're looking at things wrapping up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I understand timelines are going to change. Absolutely. I think more than anything, what I'm hopeful to get some reassurance around is that we do, in fact, have a viable path forward on completing these projects. I'm sure folks in the audience get frustrated by talking about continuously projects. I think everybody wants to see the projects completed, so we can have that tangible result. So that's what I'm most after, is a little reassurance on how do we get to the end? What does that look like? So it sounds like you're saying 18 months or so, we should start to see some real tangible progress as far as projects in the ground. Is that
Yes, and ribbon cuttings
you're saying
as
all the great
well.
stuff? Perfect, perfect.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this item? Come on up.
Thank you for having me. Mark Peters, obviously, Madera Subbasin. This is wonderful stuff. I mean, truly wonderful. And, all that permitting scares the heck out of you, but I know we'll get through it. I did hear, and I knew about the $1 million or $975,000. I would like to, but I heard all the different acre feet numbers in different time periods, and I'd like to know sort of if we could get a more concise picture of the total benefit. It's $1 million for what? And of course, it's every 3.3 years or whenever it floods. I get all that, but anyway, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Do we have any other public comment? Do we have anyone online? More? Okay. I will entertain a motion,
Move to approve.
and I'll second that.
Director McCauley,
Yes.
Director Gonzalez.
Yes.
Vote passes 2-0.
Thank you. At this time, we will receive the director's report. Be confused with that.
It could be both. Okay. I do have some items. We fairly regularly do a mailing to real estate professionals that explains Sigma rules around that, including allocations and penalties. We did another round of that in the last month. We've also drafted the liens. These have to go in place if people have not paid their penalties. Those will also go to County Counsel's office. Within the last month, we had to turn into the auditor's office and treasurer tax collector the spreadsheets for both the GSA admin fee, the penalties in the Madera and Chowchilla subbasins, and the GSP fee. We mailed out the booklet with the rules. We responded to a letter from Mr. Nakata. We are in process of reviewing new subsidence guidance that came out fairly recently from the state. And we are looking at potentially, we'll investigate this, but shifting a meeting time for next month based on the state having a workshop in Clovis on subsidence. That is September 9th, and it's at 3 or 3:30. So about the same time we would be having this meeting. So if you are a grower and haven't read the new subsidence guidance, that would be a wise thing to read. In order to save costs, we've drafted letters for several San Joaquin conservancy wells that can be transferred in terms of monitoring over to GSAs. That would be at little or no cost. So trying to save cost with our monitoring wells. We've corresponded with Gravelly Ford regarding boundary coordination. Of course, when you annex new land within a district, your GSA boundary may change, but there's a separate process for that. So that is ongoing. We also have a couple of items, both transferring penalties over to Chowchilla Water District for domestic well mitigation and the farm unit annual changes policy, both of which are in draft form and you'll see next month. Sorry for that. I know that was lengthy, but there's a lot of over and above work that we're trying to complete and did in the last month. Thanks.
Thank you, Stephanie. So is the request to not meet on the 9th in the afternoon at 1:30?
I think if we could meet the week earlier, that would be September 2nd at 1:30, if that is available for
Are you
you both.
available? We have no board meeting because it's the day after Labor Day.
I'm available, yeah.
I'll be available. We
Okay,
can do that.
we will send out a cancellation and rescheduling notice then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, with that, that is the end of this agenda, and we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
28,000 acre feet, Mark, to answer your question.